Hello. Welcome to Facebook Live. I think it's been maybe 3 weeks or so since I did the last Facebook Live, but it feels a lot longer than that. To begin with, I hope you all had a really lovely Christmas and a fantastic start to the new year. Let me just adjust my stand ever so slightly, make it a bit lower. Okay, lots happening in Stampin' Up! Today. And I'm going to go through a few. I've already shared, I think, 3 or 4 of the announcements. Actually, 3 of them. 2 more tomorrow, just so that my feed isn't bombarded and I'm not bombarding with too much information. So today, of course, Celebration starts. For those who aren't familiar with Celebration, this is when you can earn yourself free product with a purchase. There's 2 different levels. So the first level 1 is you get to choose a free Celebration item with a $100 purchase. Level 2, you'll get to choose a free Celebration item $200 purchase. You can choose only to get the level 1s. You might choose to get a level 2, and there's no limit to how many you can earn. So I'm going to flick through this catalogue fairly quickly. A lot of you will already have the catalogue, and I did share the link today to go and have a look at the Celebration information. So we have got some stamp sets. There is a card making kit, designer series paper, amazing colours, and these just on their own work really beautifully. Add a sentiment and you're ready to go. Another stamp set, there's ribbon, there's also an embossing folder, so a couple of different stamp sets. I don't have all of them, but what I do have I'll start showing. There's also papers, and some of these products coordinate with stuff in the mini catalogue as well. As mentioned, some ribbon, so that's a seam binding ribbon in Fresh Freesia, which is a really pretty soft purple. Again, another stamp set, lots of papers, fun stamp sets, embellishments. I have shared a card, I think, using these papers. Again, I'll be sharing more as time goes on. I did take a little bit of time off between Christmas and New Year because I just needed a break from everything. This one here is a level 2 Celebration item. You get the stamp set plus a set of dies. So for $200 spend, you get these for free. So they're really quite lovely. And of course, we've got the next page. Another one here for level 2s, which is quite a big stamp set, which is called Corner in Bloom. Okay. And finally, let's take one more look. Also, of course, during Celebration, it's a great time to join. For $169, you get to choose $235 worth of product. And there's also, during Celebration, 2 extra options. Option 1, you can get an exclusive stamp set and choose 2 packets of Stampin' Right markers. Or option 2, you can choose an additional $51 worth of product. Option 1 adds an extra $162 worth of product to your starter kit. Okay, so that alone is worth the cost of the starter kit. So you cannot go wrong with the amount of product that you can get when you join my team during Celebration. Okay, so let's move on. Hi Jody, thank you for joining me. Mini catalogue. I'm not going to go through page by page with this, but I'm going to show you the couple of pages from the product that I'm using. Let me just quickly mention just a couple of reminders. I'll do these at the end as well. We have got here a special release with designer series papers. Mine have only just arrived, so I will be using these and I'll share some ideas with you. These papers may look familiar. They're designs we've had in the past with designer series paper. They've just revamped the colours. Okay, monthly card class. This is the class that does come to you and it's done fully online. You will receive each month kits to make 2 cards. You'll also get a written tutorial and a video tutorial. So depending on which way you prefer, whether you prefer to watch videos or go step by step through the written tutorial, it's up to you. You don't need to buy any special extra products to complete that class. Registration does close on the 20th. Mini catalogue and Celebration launch. These events are next week, so Friday the 17th and Saturday the 18th. On my Facebook page, click on the events tab and you'll find all the information for those 2 events there. And finally, the 10th of December, oh sorry, the 10th of January is when the registration closes for the mini catalogue designer series paper sampler. This sampler is one where you'll get a 6x6 piece of all of the designer series paper in the catalogue. So that way you get to try all the different papers, decide which ones you really love, and then you can go ahead and purchase a whole packet. This is a great way of getting your hands on all the designer series papers from the mini catalogue. I'll mention these a little bit later as well, but time is running out to register for the sampler and also for the launch event. Registration for the 2 launch events also closes on the 10th. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to share with you some products. And the first one, I actually don't have sample cards to share with you, but I did roughly design them earlier when I was thinking about what to share with you. Okay, so this is called Wildflower Birthday Suite. I often don't get everything that's included in a suite. This one, I have only gotten, actually I think I've got a couple of things. I think I've got some of the embellishments, which I'm not using on the cards I'm doing tonight. And I've also got the designer series paper. This is a specialty paper because it has some of the gold embossing in it. So let me share this paper with you first. And I'm going to share the stamp set that I'm using to go with it. So this is called Wildflower Birthday Specialty Designer Series paper. I haven't cut these sheets down yet, so you'll just have to bear with me as I go through. So I'm going to show you, this is one side. This is peach pie. So the colours in this paper are, let me just find the packet. We have blueberry bushel, old olive, peach pie, pool party, pretty in pink, soft sea foam, and gold. So there's a nice selection of colours. So this is the first one. This is the peach pie. You turn it over, oops, upside down, and then you get all of these different elements that you can cut out. So this can go onto a card front, add a sentiment, and you're done. Same with all these different tag elements, and also you've got your tags there as well. So that is the first page. And all of these have on one side the gold embossing, so you can see the shimmer and shine on that. Okay, so we've got the birthday cakes. I'll put them over. And the stripes. So even that would be really nice for a baby card. There's also some florals in here as well, as you would expect with the name of the designer series paper. Okay, so I've got the 2 sheets sitting here. The reverse side is very neutral. Okay, so that is with the soft sea foam, which is really nice, soft green. Okay, so this is more of the pool party with the scalloped pattern on it. And again, it has that really nice shimmer. Let me show you the reverse side. So that's that one side. A simple, very plain, pretty leaf pattern. Okay, again, another one with that beautiful gold. Really nice selection of colours as well, and the blue really works. There's the pink gingham. Now, the bit I want to show you is another sheet of elements. These are all die cut, so all you need to do is just pop them out and use them on a card. I'm going to be using some of these images and also this image as well. As I mentioned, I haven't actually made the cards yet, but I did sit down earlier and cut cardstock and basically come up with them. I just haven't stuck them together yet. The other product I'm using with both of these cards, I've got my 2 stamp sets, which is Pool Party and Pretty in Pink, which of course are some of the colours from the paper. My new favourite stamp set from the mini catalogue is called With You in Mind. If you watched the last Facebook Live that I did before Christmas, I actually used this stamp set. So that one is on page 18 of the mini catalogue, and this one is it's priced at $35, so really reasonable, but it's got the really nice big sentiments, bold sentiments, plus you've got a couple of images as well. This is, I think, is certainly going to be a go-to stamp set for me. As you know, I love the stamp set Simply Said because it covers the basics. This is another one. It's just a little bit different with the font and a little bit more bold. Okay, so let's get started. I'll make the cards first and I'll show you a couple more samples that I've made with both of the different products. So from the 2 sheets that I shared with you, I've got this sheet here. I'm going to be using the cupcake from the middle. With this, you just need to have a look where everything is, and your first cut is going to be along there. And then I've cut mine into strips to be able to cut the rest out. So before you go cutting, just think about what you're cutting first, okay? And it's a shame that these have the pretty pattern on the other side, so you need to choose which you would like to use. Okay, and this is one of the little cupcakes that I took out of the pre-cut sheet. So with my base, it's of course it's half a sheet of A4, and this is the pool party. And this is where I guess time will tell if I've actually measured things properly. I do also have 2 pieces of white cardstock, one for the inside, one for the outside, and this measures 10 centimeters by 14.4. I went a little bit bigger because this element here measures about 7.6 centimeters by 7.6. So, and then I've just added my half centimeter on to each of my layers to do that little bit of matting. Okay, so before I stick that on, because this is going to sit at the top, super simple cards, super quick to make. So if you got a little bit of festive designer series paper from the last mini catalogue, this works along the same lines. You can make some really nice, cute, quick, simple cards using the product. So I've got my pool party, and I'm making this one a happy birthday because that works with a cake. So with my happy birthday stamp, I have used it with pink and reds, so it is a little bit stained, but as you all know, with the photopolymer, a little bit of staining actually doesn't affect the way the stamp works. It's just stained. So I'm just going to give this a quick spin. I actually need to re-ink this ink pad. It's getting a little bit too dry now. So give that a good ink. I am going to put that towards the bottom, and I'm going to do the best I can to center it. So a quick question for those who are watching. Did you get a chance to do any card making or scrapbooking between Christmas and New Year? That's kind of that really tricky time where sometimes you're not real sure what day it is. I had that a little bit. Okay, so there is that one just there. I'm going to start sticking this together. So I'm going to, I think I'm just going to use some Tombow. When I was doing some card making earlier today, my Stamp and Seal was just being a little bit temperamental. Okay, so I've got some Tombow on there, and this is going straight onto my card front. So Tracy said no, Jody said no. Gay, can't see your comment because my phone is telling me no. Gay said no as well because my phone was telling me that the connection was slow, which it often does. I think with the kids on watching the TV and on Netflix and gaming and things like that, it slows it down a little bit. Oh, that's really sad. No one got a chance to. Makes you feel better. I didn't do much either. Okay, so that is the front bit. I'm going to leave. I was going to do some thread or something, but I think I'm going to leave this plain. Again, some more Tombow, which is starting to run out a little bit as well. So as I mentioned, these cards are designed to be really, really simple, and the product makes it even easier. Okay, so far so good. I'm going to use some dimensionals. Okay, I do have some minis to use, and of course I do have, as always, my take your pick tool. A couple more. And just stabbing into the back of the dimensionals to flick the little papers up. Okay, so these three pieces will mat together, hopefully kind of sort of straight. And I'm going to go in with another lot of dimensionals. And of course, as I always say, if you've got standard size dimensionals, go ahead and use those. Okay, so as I mentioned, I have made some more cards that I'm going to share with you, just a couple more, using the designer series paper and the elements from this packet of paper. Okay, so that's going to go straight onto the front. The inside, I am going to put my second piece of white, and this piece also measures 10 centimeters by 14.4. I need to wipe my table down. I think I haven't done that since before Christmas, and I seem to be picking up some of that extra stuff, I guess, lint and dust, which is ending up sitting on my cardstock, and it's hard to tell whether it's a dirty mark on the cardstock or just a little bit of fluff. Okay, and I'm going to finish the inside off by sticking my little cupcake there. Okay, so this is card number one of the two that I'm going to share with you. So nice and simple. You could bring in some of the other colours. You could add a few extra little things onto this as well. Actually, I think I might add, which works really well with the gold, these little embellishments. Okay, they're in the annual catalogue. They are called iridescent foil gems. And these are kind of my go-to if I'm doing something a little bit more metallic. So let me grab my packet here, and we'll put a couple on. And I'm just using the putty end of the take your pick tool. And of course, they just slide. Just slide your embellishment off. There we go. It's add just a little bit more bling. Because with the embellishments, this has only just got the few leaves and also the flame at the top of the candle. So that is the first of the two cards. And I'll probably use these on the second card as well. Okay, second card. Kind of got a little bit of extra product in it. I haven't used on this one any of these elements or the ones from the other sheet. I just thought I would use the stamp set and the actual designer series paper. Again, I haven't got a sample to share with you on this one. So I have got my half a sheet of A4. Thank you, Sharon. I'm glad you like it. I've got two pieces of pretty in pink cardstock, which measure 10 centimeters by 14.4. For the inside, I've got one piece of white, which measures 9.5 by 13.9, and the same size measurement for the piece of designer series paper for the front. And that is the reverse side, just has all of those really cute little cakes there. And I've also got Old Olive, pretty in pink, and the white to stamp my sentiment on. With this one, you could use this thing sort of baby card to me, but it also sort of tells me it's more along a sort of a thinking of you card. Then you can add a happy birthday or a get well or something like that in the middle. Starting off, again, I'm using with you in mind, and I'm using the thinking of you. And I've got my pretty in pink. Gosh, I hope I cut these to the right size. We will soon find out. I think I did. Okay, so inking up in the pink, and I just have, as you can see, I've been using this stamp set a little bit, just making sure that it's stamping nicely. And hopefully, as you always do when you're stamping, hope you stamp it straight. A little bit of pressure, being a bigger stamp, you will need to add that, and there you have your thinking of you. That's the only stamp on this card. Okay, so as I mentioned, and I have many times, I love making cards using designer series paper and a stamp set. Okay, so I'm going to have to think about this one as I put it together. So that's for the inside, and we've got the outside. So I'm going to layer these pieces together first. So a little bit of Tombow and layering that onto the pink. Now for my mats, to get the sizing, I always start off with the piece that I'm stamping on, and then for the pretty in pink I added 1/2 centimetre to each measurement, and then another 1/2 centimetre for the old olive. Okay, let's do some dimensionals. So I've got 1 in each corner and just a couple in the middle. So for those of you who have received their catalogues, what's your favourite product out of the new mini catalogue? If you can choose a favourite, because there's some pretty amazing stuff in there. So I'd love to hear what's at the top of your list. Okay, so again, centering, and there you have your element completed. I do want to add something that's going to give this a little bit of shimmer and shine. We have available still the gold twisted thread. Well, I think it's available. I did order another roll today, so it still should be available. And this has got a really nice shimmer to it. So I think it's going to add just a little extra. To get this to, because it does come off the roll very curly, particularly when you get towards the end, between your index finger and your thumbnail, just run it through with a little bit of pressure and it will straighten it out. So I'm going to have my piece across the front, and I'm going to tuck it behind and stick it in place with some sticky tape, and I'm going to put that roughly in the center. And of course you could pop a dimensional behind this or a little bit of double-sided tape. But as always, the sticky tape is really easy. Just want to make sure that's fairly straight. Yeah, most of it. Yeah, the little dinosaurs, I haven't got those yet, but I can see some really cute stuff being done with them. So I'm very, very tempted to get that cute little dinosaur set. Okay, so I've got my gold. And I'm going to put my sentiment just off to one side so I can actually do a nice little bow just here. So I think I'm going to do shock horror, another layer of dimensionals, because I like to use dimensionals on cards. I can't remember a time when I've actually ever made a card that didn't have dimensionals on it. I'm not sure if people, I'm sure people do that, but I'm curious, have you ever made a card and not used a dimensional on it? Because for me, that's just incredibly challenging. Okay, so there is that one there. And I'm going to use some more of the gold thread to tie a bow. Now, if you're cutting this to length to tie it, about 25 centimeters gives you a nice bow. But if you've got the whole roll, just tie your bow and then trim it up. And I'm going to just pop that on with a little glue dot, which is, of course, one of the must-have adhesives that you have in your kit. Okay, so as I'm putting that on, I've kind of folded it in half to make the glue dot just a little bit smaller, because the bow with the thread is really quite small. And that just gives a little bit of a lift. Okay, so I finished with the gold thread. I'll just pop that away so that it doesn't unravel anymore and end up in a knot. Right, these two I'm going to be sticking together, and I'd normally put some dimensionals behind this with the thread, but it's fairly fine, so I'm going to use, if I can get it to come out, some Tombow. There we go. Now, even when I look at this, I may have used a bit too much, but the beauty with Tombow, of course, it does spread. And you get the chance to wiggle your piece just a little bit. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so just smooth that out. This is going to be going onto the card front, and I'm not going to use any more dimensionals. I've already got 2 layers there. Not so much when you're posting within Australia, but if you're posting anything overseas, this card already would have to go as a parcel. It's just the thickness of it. It doesn't go as a card or a normal letter. Okay, so as mentioned, some more Tombow. I'll put a more realistic amount. Realistically, that's the amount of Tombow, a little bit around each side, a little bit in the middle, and that is all that you need. Okay, there we go. Almost done. I'm going to finish the inside, and then I think I'm going to add some of these little foil, can never remember the name of these, iridescent foil gems. Okay, so let's finish the inside. So I have my piece of white that measures 9.5 by 13.9. Goes onto the piece of pink, which is 10 centimetres by 14.4. Those measurements should sound really quite familiar to you, because they're the same ones I use all the time. And later on, when I give this card to somebody, I'll finish off the inside with a suitable sentiment. So I think it's always nice just to send a card, because okay, let me get this cap on, and then some of these gems. Maybe I'll just do the one, perhaps. I think I'll just do one, which is totally acceptable. There we have card number 2. So I hope I've demonstrated with this designer series paper, you do have those really nice elements to use. The one that you cut from the sheet, and also the pre-printed and die cut ones. And of course, adding a suitable sentiment is all you truly need. Obviously this one a little different. I've just got the designer series paper in the background. I've added the sentiment. Let me show you 2 more that I've made using the same products. So this one here, just a happy birthday. I have finished with the mat on the inside. I've added some of different gems to this one, and the white baker's twine. So this one is this one here. So it does still have that nice gold detail. So that's what I mean by cutting those out and using those. Because this isn't quite the right size for the Australian size cards, I did trim a little bit off it. So if I hold these two together, the width is the same, it's just the length. I've trimmed maybe 1/2 centimetre or so off. I cut this piece out, I did the 2 mats, and then I also trimmed the card base as well. You could have it so there's a little bit more of a gap each side, but I'm a little bit particular. I really do like my gaps to be even, so that's why I trimmed my card base slightly, and it's still going to fit in our envelope as well. And here is another one that I made as well. I've just added the Just For You. I've also added some of the other elements as well. So this is these 3 pieces here that I have cut apart, and I've just got the piece of white behind it. I've also used the eyelet embossing folder, and my flowers, I've used one of the small ones here and also this one here. So you can mix and match. You've got the gold elements on these as well. Some of these are quite big, so you're potentially going to have to make a slightly larger card or use a square card to fit that on, or of course a scrapbook page. So there are those ones there, and I have used the same iridescent foil gems on these 3 cards, and of course the gold thread works really nicely too. So I'm going to show you a few more samples using With You in Mind. Some of these will be familiar because I have shared them and I have showed you the first 2. So that's using the Happy Birthday and one of the celebration papers, nice and bright. And this was the one that I shared or showed you how to make the last Facebook Live I did before Christmas. So this is the plaid paper, I think it's called Perfectly Plaid, from the mini catalogue. So you've got masculine, feminine, a couple more samples. I love the cupcakes. So this one I have just got Lost Lagoon and Berry Burst, and I've also added some crumb cake. Again, it's just stamping and cutting out the top part of the cupcake and placing it on the completed bottom part or the whole part with dimensionals. This one I've used a little flower stamp as well, which is a Best Wishes, and the colours I've used on this is Coastal Cabana and Pretty Peacock. So you've got your light and dark shade. I've also added Pretty Peacock embellishments, the ribbon, which is the Pretty Peacock ribbon with the gold, which is really pretty, a little bit of the white baker's twine, and I've done white heat embossing for the sentiment. And again, finished the inside, a little bit of stamping as well. I didn't do stamping on that one. So there are a few more samples, quick and easy to do. Obviously the ones with heat embossing and some extra die cutting and thing take a little bit longer, and these cupcakes are all fussy cut. So I love the cupcakes. I think I've always liked the cupcake stamps. So there are a few more samples using those. That's all I got for you. So the 2 cards that I made tonight, I will be sharing all of these on my Facebook page in the coming days and weeks. So there are the 2 for tonight. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with all of the reminders, just the 2 that are timely. The Mini Catalogue Designer Series Paper Sampler, where you get a 6x6 swatch or a quarter sheet of each of the Designer Series papers in the Mini Catalogue. Registration for this closes on the 10th, so you've still got a couple more days for that one. Also for the Mini Catalogue and Celebration launch events, which are the 17th and 18th of January, registration also closes for the 10th, and I'm not accepting late registrations. And finally, the last one I'm going to talk to you about is the monthly card class. This is the one that does come to you. Registration does close on the 20th. You can go month to month, or if you like, you can save a little bit of money and do the 3-month subscription. There is the local pickup option or the extra $3 a month just to cover postage. It does include a written tutorial and a video tutorial. So that's what I got for you. So yes, so these two most important ones, the mini catalogue sampler and also the launch events registration closes for both of those on the 10th. So I think, like I said, we've still got three more days for that. You'll find links on my Facebook page, so please just scroll down. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Gay. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Jenny, Sharon. There were some other names there. Jody. There was someone else as well, I think. But thank you so much for watching. I'm going to share the replay straight away so you can go back and take another look at these cards. So I hope you've really enjoyed seeing a little bit of new product. I'm going to be back next week, of course, and I'm going to share maybe some celebration stuff with you. Thanks again, everyone, and I will see you next week.